has been a lot said about My Dress Up Darling, and I've seen everything said about this show, from Gooner Slop to Gooner Slop, and even people calling it a harem. And if there is one thing this show isn't, that is a harem. That's some shit we need to get straight, because I'll let you call this show a lot of things, but you shall not misrepresent this show. It's a pure romance between two people, and sure, there's some other characters that crush on Gojo, but he has only one woman in the star of his eyes right now, and that is a Hina doll. My Dress Up Darling took the whole internet by storm. The series kinda came out of nowhere and exploded onto the scene. There was plenty of people who enjoyed it because of the characters, and other people enjoyed it for other reasons, but this has been a series I really enjoyed since season 1. Obviously, there's some pretty crazy fan service at times, but it does make sense to the story most of the time, but this series has been one I've liked purely because of the characters. Seeing the growth between Marin and Gojo since season 1 is fantastic. A reason I got into the series was because of these two. I've seen people complain about the romance, and I'm like, we've literally seen them grow. Marin grows into accepting her feelings where she for sure knows that she definitely likes him, and we get to see Gojo now finally start to see Marin in a new light where he thinks, yo, I might like her, perchance. Season 1 was fun, but I think season 2 is 10 times better than season 1 was, from a story to a music and to even an animation perspective. So what made me so excited for season 2 to come out? First, we have to start off with season 1, and it introduced two characters that are very pivotal to this story. Marin was a character that had a lot of people captivated early on in the series. She was the complete opposite of Gojo. She was upbeat, she was a bit of an airhead, but one thing she was gonna do is show off the passion she had for the things she loves. She's not gonna shy away from the things she likes and enjoys. She's gonna wear that shit proudly on her chest, and she'll even scream from the mountaintops that she loves those things. She'll never back away from it, and she honestly is the best character. She's a character that you'll just really enjoy watching. She's having fun and doesn't give two shits what you say about the stuff she likes. But Gojo is the complete opposite. Due to everything that happened when he was a child, he shelters himself. He's scared to tell people that he likes Hina dolls and that he works there. And he's training to become a really good person at making these Hina doll faces and Hina dolls in general. These two came across each other in the most random way. For the first time, she flies into his desk. And for the second time, they meet in the school sewing room. All because Gojo's sewing machine broke. Marin walks in, and this is where they both reveal their passions, and Gojo realizes that not everybody is an asshole when it comes to things you like, so the two team up together and form an unstoppable duo, one that would ravage the lands, that would make the trios of MSN and BBC shake in their boots. Even LeBron and Kyrie, the most iconic duo, would not know how to stop this team. But they really are an insane duo. Gojo is a master of clothes crafting, making some of the most lore accurate outfits known to mankind, and Marin, who already models, so, you know, she knows exactly how to wear the fits, I guess. I don't know. She models, so, you know. She gives him the ideas and he makes the costume. So they make a crazy combo and they get attention of plenty of people. Some that played a part in season 1 and others that play a part in season 2. And that basically is where we are at in season 2. After the two of them discover the power they both have of making banger cosplays and developing their friendship to a point where they trust each other more than ever. So I was more than excited when they finally announced season 2 because I was a really big fan of the first season. I couldn't wait to see where Gojo and Marin go because I fucking absolutely adore these two characters. But a show dropped between season 1 and season 2 of Dress Up Darling, and that show was called Buchi the Rock, which seems to have a massive influence on this show. Maybe they changed directors, but everything I looked at seems that they kept the same director between seasons, so I believe with how Buchi the Rock looked, it might have had an influence on how much it changed since season 1. It's either that or they just had a crazy budget increase. I'm not really sure, but you know, it's just a theory. Because it does look different in the best possible way. It's so much smoother and animated so much better, and it's all because they slightly changed the art style. It went from a show that looked very generic to making it a show that stands out a lot more. It's not some drastic change you can notice right off the bat, but you can pretty much tell from square one. And I know I just contradicted myself, but they really do switch it up enough where it flows so much better than the first season. It really is the best way to describe what is happening. The animation just flows better, and it looks way better too. And I know I use the most 5th graded words to describe it, but that's all I got. The animation looks better, and I think Buchi had a slight influence on how it looked. The story pretty much picks off exactly where we left off from the first season, and it feels like we've never left from season 1. Both of them are still growing from everything that happened in season 1. They're still planning out new cosplay. The thing I really like most about this season, actually giving the cosplays more backstory and more lore. I'm not even sure what the best way to call it is. It's like they give you, you know, context in the first season, but I feel like these ones just stand out so much more. They show them off a lot more, so you get invested and understand why Marin likes these characters from the show, because they go above and beyond to show them off. They make them have full stories, they switch up the animation style, they go crazy showing off the other shows. That is a massive plus. During season 1, we got some little bits of them showing off stuff, but season 2, they show it all off, and that helps you get more familiar with it. They have so much personality, they throw in these little segments that make them stand out, and you remember them so much more, because Marin wears this cosplay once, and she hardly does much cosplaying this season, but they stick with you a little bit more because of those shorts. So you can remember, oh, she was cosplaying the goofy bunny girl who blew up the whole building. But I thought one that improved significantly was the coffin cosplay. The manga just shows off the text, but the anime chooses to show it off visually. It's very far out for this series because this game shows some pretty fucked up things, so if you're watching this episode, it is pretty crazy. There is a warning for this part. It deals with some dark stuff, and it's crazy they even put it in a show like this. So while I like how they adapted it, it's hard to talk about the scene without the tragic shit that's also in it. Just if you're watching this episode, be warned, it deals with some very heavy topics. Mental struggles to SA. It's really fucked up and something I wish they talked about more in the show, but they gloss over it besides like a 2-second scene with Gojo talking about the game. Which could be a commentary on how people excuse fucked up shit if the character looks cute enough, because nobody in the show really seems to care besides the characters calling it a scary game and not giving it much substance past that, and they're just like, hey, the nuns are cute, let's cosplay the nuns, and they don't really like touch on anything else. I wanted to point that out. They do make a lot of the cosplays have something more than just a throwaway scene, and I like that they added that. I just knew I couldn't gloss over the coffin one without talking about what it represents and everything like that, so just be warned when you do watch the episode. Marin goes through a lot this season. Since she's a model, she has to stay skinny basically year round, and they make a whole spiel about her gaining weight. And she gets so messed up over everything, especially when she gets depressed purely because the old outfits Gojo made wouldn't fit anymore, and she flips shit about it. So she rightfully tells him about it, and he's just like, it's all good, we can just resize them. And it was just so funny how much of a non-problem it is, and she's freaking out about it, but it leads into one of my favorite episodes in the series. Since season 1, Marin has been saving up for a professional camera ever since they met Juju and her sister, so when she finally has it, they take pictures, and it's animated so beautifully. It really is one of the best scenes in the entire show. And they took the little bit from the manga and made the scene so much better. It's simple, but Marin and Gojo just talking about plans in the camera, it feels so casual, like something you and your friends would talk about as time flies. It's just such a realistic moment between the two of them. It's just really nice to see them interact as two people who are really close and just talking to talk. All around a great scene from one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, if you want me to be honest. Gojo also wants to improve his whole cosplay game, so they meet a girl named Akira who is insane at making props. She is a character that is a twisted parallel to Marin. When she was younger, her mother hated her having anime, manga, or anything of that sort. She thought, oh, this is childish. She never really had that freedom to ever express herself. She was always doomed to keep it to herself until she finally met people who enjoy the same shit as her. So I've always interpreted this princess line as a way for her to view Marin, because Marin is able to do something she was never able to do when she was younger. Marin was able to express herself and to love the things she loves. Akira never really had that same freedom. But she's also different from Gojo because he at least had his grandpa from a young age encouraging him, you know, to make these Hina dolls. For Akira, yeah, her family shut that shit down until she finally moved out. So I like to see this more as her seeing someone doing something she was never able to do or never able to have. So she just loves Marin for that, and that is my interpretation for it, at least. She also loves supporting her friends who love cosplaying by helping them by any means necessary, so it's nice to see her and Gojo bond over that. It's a simple thing, like they just want to prop their friends up, and that's just really nice to see, and really nice to see them grow closer together. Ammane is also a prominent character we get throughout season 2, and I think he is such a great addition to the cosplaying squad. He's a crossdresser and introduced them to a lot of new tech that they can use in their cosplays. He lived in a very supportive household that really pushed him to do what he fell in love with, but it also helped him grow more and more confident every day he cross-dressed. Broke more and more out of his shell, finally not being nervous around others at all. Then he gets a girlfriend who doesn't accept that he cross-dresses, so rightfully, he dumps our bitch ass. Because why would you give up on something you love? He was just a great introduction to this cast. His episode where he describes his backstory is also really good. I've heard people complain about there being no romantic development between Marin and Gojo, and while yeah, for the most part, it's true, this season we got some pretty significant movement. This is the first time we actually see Marin struggle with the feelings she has for him. She wants to confess, but she is so scared it's going to ruin everything, so seeing her crying in her bed as she worries about the worst possible outcome that could happen between them, you know, it's pretty freaking sad. They do the scene a tad bit of disservice because of the music, but it's still a really good scene where you can see the inner workings of her feelings as they grow more and more for him. Her internal struggle that lasts throughout the rest of the season, where she thinks, should I confess? Should I not confess? And it's really nice to see this side of her where usually she's joyful. It's nice to see that she has this side of her. But we see that, you know, her feelings, They're more and more, but where the boat really starts moving is with Gojo. For the first time ever, he finally sees the beauty of Marin. We had an early part in season 1 where he called her beautiful, but it felt more like a throwaway than anything. But in season 2, this is where he actually means this shit. He says how bright she shines, how much she stands out, all her facial features, and he feels something deep within himself. And that feeling is the first ever feeling he had seeing a Hina doll. He felt love at first sight with her finally. He calls her beautiful for the first time with real sincerity, meaning that word 100%. Like, this is monumental movement between them. He finally accepted that he might actually have feelings for her. And for him to come to this realization in the middle of season 2 is pretty quick compared to some other romance animes. And considering that there is maybe a season left of this show, shit is about to start ramping up between both of them. These feelings are going to grow, and they're going to grow fast. So everybody wanting there to be movement, you're about to get a whole lot of movement, considering that there was like a slight push in season 2. This show gets called GOONER SLOP, and I even joked about it at the start of the video, but this show does a lot of great things, and it has a lot of great things going for it. And there is definitely some bad in this show, there's no questioning that. But there's a lot of positives in this show. Marin being someone that is not scared of being who she is. She's gonna like what she likes, and she's not gonna hide it. Gojo being the perfect example of that. He's scared to tell anybody that he loves making Hina dolls, but throughout the show we see him tell people that he enjoys it, or Marin blurts it out. And everybody thinks that it's cool as shit, that it's so amazing. I hate it being called GOONER SLOP because there's so much substance in there that you can enjoy. If you hate the fan service, okay, that's perfectly fine, but there really is a good show in there, and there was plenty to like about this season. Like Gojo going from the shy person we knew at the start of the series to someone who has all these friends and is learning that people aren't all assholes. They're gonna genuinely care and won't make fun of you for the stuff you like. The animation improvements really turn this into a series that isn't gonna fall to the wayside. It won't be some generic romance people just remember because the animation looks like every other generic romance. It actually stands out and people will remember it for that. The author once again shows her cosplaying knowledge. There's tons in here I've never heard of or ever seen, so seeing it all being explained and how much really goes into cosplaying is really great. They put in a lot of effort this season and it's showing. Everything flows amazingly. There is about 35 chapters left, give or take, for them to adapt, so we most likely will have one more season of the show before everything is fully over. And that is crazy to think about because it feels like we're finally hitting some real romantic developments, like the wheels are finally turning and it's really about to end. Like, it's kind of crazy. But this series is really good. It really is good. It has its flaws, but it is still an enjoyable series with great characters. Hopefully everybody did enjoy this video. You know, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me you fuck with Dress Up Darling. Do you not fuck with Dress Up Darling? But yeah, hopefully everybody did enjoy this video, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.